Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Home Lee, and I'm back with a little video. Got some work that I'm doing here. I'm going to do a couple of little step-by-step pieces, and hopefully I can get this out to you guys here in a couple of days if everything goes as planned. Got a couple of blasters that I'm working on here that I'm going to be sending off to some people, and at the end of the video I'll be telling who they're going to. If you hear background noise, it's because it's a beautiful day, and it's also hotter than Hades here in my shop with no air conditioning. So I've got the shop door open to get a little bit of circulation. So you may hear birds chirping, squirrels doing martial arts, whatever, outside. So I'm going to apologize for any background noise that you hear. This blaster is one that I have completed the package of. This was a DC Superhero Girls Batgirl blaster. Let me double check. That's, yeah, DC Superhero Girls Batgirl blaster. That is very similar to the BoomCo TriBlast. I have repainted it with blue and black. Of course, left the trigger and priming rod the yellow that they come in, simply because it's difficult to get those things to be painted and stay painted most of the time. It has one of Boomtendo's 5-shot TriBlast cylinders in pink here. As you can see, it's got the selector on the side like the TriBlast. You can do 1 or 3. I have not plugged this to do the 2 shots instead of the 3. So when you go down to the 3, it will shoot 3 of the darts, and then you'll still have 2 single darts left, or you can do 5 single shots. This has been K26'd, and this is the first BoomCo blaster that I've really had to upgrade the catch spring on. It was giving me trouble. When I put it together, fired 10 or 15 shots out of it. Everything was fine. Yesterday when I finished buttoning this up, did perfect. Picked it up today to show it to somebody, and it didn't want to catch. Took it apart, fiddled with the catch a little bit, put it together, worked fine. Picked it up about 10 minutes later, didn't want to catch. So I put an extra catch spring in there, and it seems to be doing good right now. So I hope when I get this sent off that the person that I'm sending it to doesn't have any trouble with it. But if they do, that catch spring's probably what it's going to be. As you can see here, I've got some of the pink halo darts with this to kind of go along with that pink cylinder. And I have repainted the little sidearm piece to go with it. And your blaster just hangs there. You've got 6 darts, which is 1 complete refill plus 1, since it's got the extra cylinder now. But I have given it a black and blue color scheme with the pink darts, so it kind of matches there, which I think that'll match pretty nicely. Move that off to the side. This is the next one I'm going to be working on. I've already taken the internals out, and I've started my sanding work a little bit before I started the video, and I realize on camera a little bit it's looking like this is almost the same color as this, and that's really weird because these blasters are normally purple. I mean, that's a purple blaster. I don't know why it's showing up like blue on camera there. But I have taken it apart. The screws are out. I started my sanding work on these pieces, and then I ground off the text on this one. I'm going to be where I left this black here, and I left the text on there. I'm going to be painting this and that shroud a different color, and the main body on this one's going to be black. But you've got your grip panels there that come off that make for real good painting. You've got those separate pieces, and then you've got your 3-shot cylinder that it comes with when you purchase it. And again, I'm going to be replacing that with one of Boomtendo's 5-shot cylinders. This one's going to be an orange. But there's a couple of people that kind of helped me get back being interested in the Nerf hobby, or the foam flinging hobby, I guess. And just sort of as a gift to them for their inspiration, I'm going to be painting these blasters up a little bit and shipping them out to them hopefully by the middle of next week. So today is a Friday that I'm filming this, and like I said, it may be a day or two before I get everything finished, and I'm going to wait until I get these in the mail before I drop the video. That way it sort of increases the surprise for those people when they receive this. So I have started painting the belt clip for this blaster already, so I don't have it here with me. I'm actually waiting for some clear coat to dry on it as I start sanding here, so hopefully here in just a second, thanks to the magic of movies, you guys will see as I start painting this and as it comes together. So we'll see in just a bit. Okay, I'm back. Got a quick little update here. I have finished painting the dart holder belt clip piece for the other blaster that I'm doing. This will probably give away who this one's going to when I show it. As you can see, went with a black and orange paint job. Orange had the black accents. Humidity is being my enemy here. You can see got a little bit of a smudge when I clipped these back on, and then some of the paint has smudged here in the back when I was pressing those in. So hope that doesn't hurt things too much, but it's it looked dry, it felt dry to the touch, and then when I started to work with it, it smudged a bit. So hopefully that won't happen as I go on to paint the blaster. Alright, and we're back with a painted blaster base. There's a couple of little bits that I'm waiting on the clear coat to dry on, but while we're at it, we can go ahead and put the internals in this. There's not a whole lot out there on the TriBlast by BoomCo. This is basically identical to the TriBlast. There's also a I think a Wonder Woman blaster that may be similar internals. But while we're at it, I'm going to go ahead and show putting the majority of the internals in here right now. When I get back with the other pieces, now we can go ahead and put all this in right now. Thought I had to wait for one of the painted pieces in order to get my barrels in, but I think we can wait and do those here in a minute. I have cut a piece of K26 and threaded on there. There's ways of getting that peg out and putting them back. I'm not real good with that, and I'm sort of afraid of having some issues with that going back on correctly. But I've cut a piece of K26 that's just a little bit shorter than this stock spring. This spring is similar to the Far Shot, the M6, all of those, which that makes this a handy little spring to keep around, because you can triple these up in any blaster that they'll fit. But the plunger tube piece is a little tricky. For one thing, the plunger rod has a groove in it. You want to make sure that's facing down when you put everything in there. And on the TriBlast, I had trouble with this spring coming off when I modded those, but this seems to grip pretty well. And you'll set that in there. Sorry, bumped the camera there. And you get that spring against that little rest right there. Trying to get this all in frame. And then there'll be a little piece of plastic there that you want it to catch the front piece of this blue plastic here, and then there's a piece of plastic here that you want the spring to catch on. Now you've got your little plunger gasket there. You want to make sure it and your selector stay lined up identically. And I may have done this backwards. Yeah. I'll need to take this out. And it's a little bit easier. This selector is a little bit wider than the slot that it goes in. So it's good if you can stick that in there sideways and then turn it. That way you'll have that in place. Then come in with your plunger tube. And this is the first time I've ever done any kind of tutorial, and I mean, I am by no means an expert on this blaster at all, but you want to get all that seated in there properly. There we go. Now most of the time that'll hold. If you go with an exact piece of K26, a lot of times that'll be under tension. That's one reason I went a little bit shorter. It makes it a little easier about getting that plunger tube in there. Now next up, we've got the catch. A lot of people don't upgrade the catch spring on a lot of BoomCo blasters. They usually have a pretty stout catch spring, but when I did the last one of these Batgirl blasters, I shot about 10 rounds and then it started giving me trouble catching. So what I did is I took the spring off the trigger, because this is a little narrow slot that the catch goes in, and I'm just feeding that trigger spring in there, trying to, if it'll cooperate with me. May have to take that off and put them on together. And the trigger spring is a bit longer, but they will work together there. And Easier said than done. I take a little bit of super lube on the sides, and I already put some inside the plunger tube in case you're wondering. Alright, this one will be a little difficult. Hang on just a second here, please. Alright, took me just a second to get that catch spring in. Wasn't wanting to cooperate just exactly right, and I had to get things in a little bit better position. Now take and put me some super lube on my trigger, and this is just the internal part of it that I'm putting it on, not the whole thing, just the rail that slides inside the blaster and through the catch. Now on this, since I used the trigger spring to upgrade the catch, I'm using a spring out of a box from Harbor Freight that I cut down to the proper length here. And it just, oh, I'll be right back. Okay, looks like I'm going to have to hold that catch in till I get ready to button up the blaster. But next, you have a little piece that looks like this. It's got the little tooth on it there. And that piece will go right in here. And that's just a little sort of clicky piece for your selector, so that you get a little bit of a feedback when you're moving your selector switch. There, it gives you a little click. And then then I will go ahead and seat our barrel. Now these, I knew that would happen. Little piece came out. These barrels do take up a little more space, and so when you're doing the Batgirl blaster, they have a little more coverage over the barrel area here than the TriBlast does. So it's a little bit more of a snug fit. Still works, but sometimes that'll pop that out. And then we will take and well, piece popped out on me again. And the purpose of this piece is to give you feedback on your barrels when you're turning them. Well, cooperate with me, buddy. There we go. And we've got that in place. Alright, wanted to take just a second to double check that I was showing this properly. before I showed it on camera, but your barrel catch there, you want to make sure the slanted part is facing backwards on it, and then your selector catch, you want that tooth to be on top and facing the front of the blaster. So now we're ready to button her up. This may be easier said than done with that plunger catch behaving like it is. Yep, just as I suspected. Okay, finally back and ready to button everything up. I had to trim down the trigger spring to match the length of the catch spring so that we'd be good to go. It kept wanting to bend out of the way on things, but again, didn't paint the plunger rod or the trigger because those things tend to wear quite a bit when you do. So and the lovely thing on this blaster, all of the screws are the same length, so we don't have to worry about keeping track of who goes where. Can be difficult to operate a screwdriver with super lube on your hands. And I recommend myself, and I've picked it up from a few other modders that I've watched, when you open a blaster for the first time, okay, that is the one different screw. It has a slightly smaller head. There's a sticker that covers that on the Batgirl blaster. I didn't realize there was a screw under that sticker when I opened my first one, and I did break a screw post. Now the other screws will go in once we get the other pieces on here. But as I was saying, I recommend using a manual screwdriver the first time you open a blaster up, and every time you close it up. Electric screwdrivers are nice, but you can end up with some stripped screws that way if you're not careful. So I'm going to go see if our shroud and grip are dry enough to put on, and we'll be back for that. Okay, the shroud and the grip are dry enough. We'll go ahead and put those on. The humidity has played hell with me on this. You can see the grip is kind of messed up there a little bit. I hate that happened, and I apologize to the recipient of this blaster for that. The shroud piece, pretty nice. You got one piece, make sure that it clicks in at the bottom to the two little holes there, and bring it down. You got a little slot for your selector switch. Got two little pieces go in slots there. Bring that around. Drop your screws in. take the grip apart, if that'll work for me. It didn't want to go together earlier. Okay, there was a loud snap, but nothing's broken. I double checked. It just kind of popped loose all of a sudden. It took a little bit of strength to get it there. Boy, that's looking nice. I hate that grip cracked on the other side, because that is looking beautiful. That black and orange. Drop our screws in there. And I like to start them a little bit at a time in one area and then go all the way down. That way you don't have a whole lot of give in one spot all of a sudden. There we go. Alright, that has turned out to be a beautiful blaster. Alright, we've got the black and orange, we've got the blue and black and pink, we've got dart holders for each one. These two TriBlasts, I know they're not very much. I know, well, these are Batgirl blasters actually. I know they're not anything significant, but again, I'm sending these to two gentlemen that inspired me to get back in the Nerf hobby, inspired me to get back into modding. They have both done a lot for the Nerf community, both in their home area and nationwide. They're both good, giving souls. They're both nice guys. They've both given me advice in modding. And I know that I'll never be anywhere near the level that they are. But this blaster is going to Mr. Walcom. Appreciate all you've done, buddy. And this one, if you haven't guessed at this point, is going to Captain Xavier. Those two guys are pillars of the Nerf community, in my opinion. They weren't what originally got me into Nerf, but they are what brought me back to Nerf, and what got me back being interested in this hobby, and seeing that there is a good community. There's some great people out there, and we can all contribute to each other. And of course, Walcom has the pink cylinder and the pink halo darts, and Captain Xavier has an orange cylinder, and I'm sending him some of the orange darts that come with these black Batgirl blasters. So they're getting darts in their colors and that match their blasters. I've done them sort of a miniature loadout here, something that could be of use in a pistol round, could be used as a backup blaster, all sorts of things, because these blasters are really nice. They do a single shot, and the single shot will be, let me grab a spare dart I've got laying here, will be out of this top, it's right as you're staring at the blaster, left as you're holding it. It'll be out of that top barrel. Well, and then if you switch to a shotgun blast, it will fire out of the top barrel on the other side, and I believe, well, let me go ahead and fill this up and we'll see which barrels fire. I did know, and I've forgotten since I test fired Wacom's blaster, but pull it. Be the top right as you're pointing the blaster, the bottom right as you're pointing the blaster, and the bottom left as you're pointing the blaster. So it will be those 3 darts on the shotgun blast. You can, however, if either of these gentlemen wish to, you can go in and you can put a plug over one of the spare holes in the selector, and your shotgun blast will then be 2 darts instead of 3, and then you will have two shot blasts and a single dart. Or if you want to leave your shotgun blast at 3, you can have 1 shotgun blast and 2 single darts. These are a pretty handy little blaster. I'll put up some chrono data here. And show you it can compare to what a far shot or an M6 can do, firing a single dart. Plus you have the option of doing a shotgun blast if the need be. So you've got a blaster that can do several different things, and I hope these 2 gentlemen can get some kind of use out of these blasters. I hope they appreciate these blasters as much as I appreciate what they have done for myself and for the community. I've got a few more of the Batgirl blasters, and I'll be ordering some more of these cylinders from Boomtendo, and be sending a few more of these out to people that I have gotten some inspiration from. So in conclusion, this is Home Lee. I appreciate you guys watching this video. Hope you can take a little bit away from the quick build that I did on this blaster, and thank you for watching. Have a good day.